And my new friend, Nev Schulman, joins us. How are you, man?
Oh, I'm great. Thanks so much for having me. I like that giant, what is a $100 bill behind you there?
Yeah, that doesn't look fake at all for a guy that deals in fakes. Like, you think I could take that to the bank?
Maybe. I mean, I guess it's just about just as real as those giant checks they give you when they show up at your house, right?
Right. Guess what? You just won. But seriously, and I want to get to the financial part of this that you're working on now, which made me so excited when I heard that you're working on this. You've been doing catfish for a long time, Nev, but where did the idea originally come from? How did you get started with catfish?
Well, I as much as I wish I could take credit for having the initial idea, it was certainly not an idea. It was more of I guess you could call it a strange and unusual sequence of events that happened to me, wherein I essentially met and became friendly with a group of people, a family in Michigan, and developed a romantic relationship with one of them. And over the course of 9 months, grew closer and closer, and finally went to meet them. And it just so happened that my brother and our best friend Henry are filmmakers, and they had sort of documented the process and came with me. And when we got there, we discovered that the whole family, but particularly the young woman I had been talking to, were not at all who they had said they were. And we ended up making a documentary called Catfish.
Well, that's what I was going to say. That first documentary that I watched, right, which was creepy as all get out, that was seriously the beginning of this whole now institution.
That's right. Yeah. So what was a very small, unassuming documentary turned into a major phenomenon, because I think the experience I had of having someone create a fake account, and in this case, many fake accounts, all with the intent to lure me into and engage with me in a romantic way, was not a unique experience. It's something that has been happening previously, and certainly more so subsequently. And a lot of people wanted to talk about it, and were experiencing it themselves. And so that's why the show has been successful now for nearly 10 years, and the stories keep presenting themselves, and we keep having, content to discuss. And similarly, why I was excited to, sort of transition out, not out of, but into a conversation very closely related to sort of fake romance, which is obviously online scams.
Yeah, and we've actually, it's cool, Nev, you'll appreciate this. We were recording a show one time, OG and I got called by a scammer right as we were recording. It was one of the IRS scammers that you've seen, and we actually got this long, awesome recording. And I want to get back to that in a second, but I want to play for people that aren't familiar with catfish and don't know anything about this. This institution now is so strong that well, on your TikTok channel, which is flipping hilarious, by the way, Nev. It is so the creativity that you spend on your TikTok channel, which we're going to talk to again with you and Zelle, and working on this. I want to play just one TikTok about catfish. This is an amazing catfish song. Let's listen in.
He said he's 6'4" and a model for Chanel Couture. Saw his picture on a dating app, and you thought, wow, I like some of that. Started texting every night. Told him all about your life. But when you met him in July, well, it's safe to say you got a fright. Cause you have been catfished. Oh, it was so savage. Cause it turned out he was 55, and all the pictures he sent must have been another.
That is a beautiful singer. Her voice is amazing. Nina Nesbitt, I believe is her name.
Yeah.
With you in the background, of course, Nev, doing the and,
yeah, exactly.
But it's so. Why do you think so many people for so long continue to get catfish? Are we have people continually preying on our hopes and dreams that this really is something it's not? What's going on?
I think that for many of us, and I include myself in this as both a victim of catfishing, as well as sort of an early analog scam myself on the mean streets of New York City, I think we're people are always looking for something great that's going to make them happy. Whether that's a relationship, or a vacation, or a check, or a tax return from the IRS that we just need to, or a long lost relative in Europe that died and left us a bunch of money. I mean, there's our lives for the most part tend to be mundane, and we're constantly looking for something to come into our lives and change them for the better. And I think that's why people are so easily lured into online romance scams, because someone's talking to you, they're flirting with you, they're texting you every day, good morning, good night, how are you, I'm thinking about you, and that emotional flirtation feels very exciting. And then financially, the idea of getting a great deal on something, or somehow getting some unexpected amount of money, can be life-changing for some people. And so I think we're all vulnerable to that. And unfortunately, there are lots of people who are looking to take advantage of that.
I want to dive in more to some of those topics, actually all of those topics, but as a way to kick it off, you're doing this with Zelle, and it's on your TikTok channel. So once again, it's going to be hella entertaining, because it's Nev and now Zelle. And I'm going to play one where you're one of these scammers. Let's listen.
Oh, yeah.
Hi, this is Mark with your bank. I've noticed your account's been locked, and I just need your bank credentials to help you get that unlocked.
And then you go through a few tips here. Your bank will never call you for personal info. They
Yeah.
already have it. If they say it's urgent, you got to question it. And of course, hang up and call your bank. Some great tips there. That scam happens all the time, doesn't it?
It really does. Unfortunately, it's not hard for scammers to find out what bank you're with, and obviously get your phone number. And the scary thing is, you'll get a phone call. The caller ID might even say the name of your bank, which is something that can be, manipulated. And a very legitimate sounding agent will get on the phone and say, "Hey, we just noticed some suspicious activity. We want to make sure we have your information correct, or one of your accounts has been compromised. We'd like you to move your money to a new account that we just set up for you so that it doesn't get taken." There's any number of things that they'll come up with, usually coupled with, "This is an urgent matter. We need you to deal with this right now, because otherwise, your money might disappear."
We've seen this, Nev, happen a lot historically with old people, but now as things move online, I bet you're seeing it with much younger people now.
Well, that's why we decided to make this sort of PSA series, because younger people obviously now much more than ever are familiar with and engaging with their own banking day-to-day services. Everyone has their own bank account. Most, if not all, banks now have an online app, and Zelle is obviously baked into those apps. And so, yeah, if you don't know this and you get a phone call from your bank, and again, in most cases, young people haven't really had the in-person interactions with their bank the way that some of us perhaps used to in a more analog time. If someone calls you from your bank and they seem to know enough about you to confirm that you're you, there's an assumption that, oh, I better give them my information because it's what I'm supposed to do. And so I don't think a lot of people know that that's not what you're supposed to do. In fact, it's the opposite of what you're supposed to do. But it's if you don't know that, it certainly is an easy trap to fall victim to.
This isn't just with banks, though. I recently had a scam nearly perpetrated on me. And once again, preying like you see on Catfish all the time, Nev, preying on something that my wife and I really wanted. We're looking for a grand piano. There was somebody on Craigslist who told us that they were moving from our area across country, and they didn't want to take it anywhere. So it's in beautiful shape, and all I have to do is pay for the shipping and they'll move it. The shipper needed the money today. They wanted me to Zelle the money today. And then they would bring it to me tomorrow. And once they said that they needed me to Zelle the money today, like, I don't know, I've been at this game long enough to go, yeah, I'm probably not Zelling you anything until I see a piano. But it's sad that it doesn't always involve banks.
And that's a great example, because like something that feels a little too good to be true, but not impossible, right? I mean, if
Right.
I were moving and I didn't want to take my piano, but I wanted to see it go to a good home, and I was willing, just pay to get it picked up or delivered, like that's very possible. And there are probably people who would be willing to do that in real life. But you're right. If there's ever a sense of urgency or a need for the money to be transferred right away, that is the first or a very good red flag to look out for. And in that case, whether I'm obviously happy to hear you didn't send any money, but whether you did or you didn't, if you have any information on someone who's using Zelle, whether to request money from you or someone you've sent money to who ends up scamming you, we urge people to report that to their bank, because then the bank can flag that account and hopefully look into it and certainly remove them from the Zelle platform. So even if you didn't end up getting scammed, you still report it, because that person and that account can be flagged and hopefully removed to avoid other victims.
Yeah, that was my next question, was around recourse. Is that really the only recourse we have, is to report it?
Yeah, well, yeah. So when it comes to things like that, sort of scams, yes, you should always report it. One of the other things that we're trying to communicate to people is, as much as possible, try to keep your interactions on sort of verified platforms. Craigslist is obviously unique because there's no money exchange that takes place inside of Craigslist. But with platforms like Airbnb or VRBO or OfferUp, things, where you can make the financial exchange in the app or on the platform, we encourage that, because what we're seeing is a lot of people present opportunities on the platform, and then once they've engaged with you and they know you want their product or their service, they'll say, oh, well, if you want, you can pay me off the platform. It'll be cheaper. You'll save yourself some fees. We can avoid paying taxes or whatever. And once you leave the platform, you're no longer kind of covered. There is no recourse. You've elected to send money on your own accord outside of the sort of potential insurance or reimbursement policy.
Yeah, great advice. Are there any scams you're seeing? I feel like the IRS scam. I'm in trouble with the IRS. That was going around for a while. I haven't had those calls anymore lately, very much.
Right.
But is there any hot one that you've seen a lot lately?
Well, I think we probably all got phone calls about our car's extended warranty at some point in the last year or two.
Very important.
Right. And, I know people, it must have worked, because they did it to enough people. And that's unfortunately, that's the game, right? It's not scamming everyone successfully. It's, okay, I'm going to send out 100,000 of these emails or make 100,000 of these calls. And if I can get 5% of people to engage, and send me $50, that's, $100,000 or something. So,
just a numbers
you gotta, right. It's a numbers game.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, right now, I think vacation rentals, because people are looking to travel again now, they're looking for deals, and obviously also the holidays are coming. So there's a lot of sort of online shopping scams. Just like you said, people are going to be desperate to get the newest video games. You're going to go on Craigslist to see if you can find a deal. Someone's going to say, yes, I've got it. It's great. It's brand new. It's never been opened. I'll give you a deal and shipping, and you can't confirm it, but you want the deal and you want to get that gift for your kid or your brother, and you'll do it. So you just got to really, really be careful.
That's great. Like I'm imagining Xbox and, because nobody can Xbox and PX5, like these things are probably huge around the holidays. And this is all going to be on your TikTok channel?
Well, yeah. So essentially what we're trying to do is create TikToks that address, each one a different sort of typical scenario where you might find yourself unsure or hopefully alarmed at the situation you're in. And obviously also directing people just to the Zelle website, because there's a great resource there of tips and tricks and things to look out for. So yeah, again, my main goal with this is just to get people talking about it, because look, you're never going to be able to know all the things and have all the tools to protect yourself. But if you're at least aware of the fact that they're out there and looking for, potential scam sort of red flags, it gives you at least the initial pause to say, wait a second. I heard something about this. This feels a little weird. Let me double check. Let me call my bank and just make sure that this is legit, or let me ask this person to sort of make the deal back on the website, because I remember I'm not supposed to do it. Like, so we're just trying to give people, those initial kind of instincts.
That's fantastic. We have a TikTok minute on the show where we talk about some of the absolutely horrific money advice and sometimes hilariously bad money advice on TikTok.
Yeah.
So it is our pleasure, Nev, to direct them to you. We'll direct them to Zelle. Go to our show notes page at stackingbenjamins.com. Question about the show. You and Cammie have been such a great duo the last couple of years. What are the two of you working on now for the new catfish season?
Well, we're thrilled to still be doing the show. We were able to film pretty much straight through the pandemic, and figured out how to sort of make the show remote, but we're excited to now be back on the road, getting back out to travel and meet people. And Cammie's got a great, actually, new podcast, sort of unrelated to catfish, that she's working on. I've also got the Catfish podcast. So if anyone out there listening wants to sort of
dive in,
wants to dive into the catfish world, but prefers to do it audibly. That's not a word. I don't know. They can find the Catfish podcast, and that's something that I've been enjoying doing a lot.
Well, and I was looking at the list of celebrities that ran the New York Marathon recently. You are one fast dude. My fastest marathon is 3:42. You ran 3:22?
I ran a 3:22, which is not my fastest. My fastest is 2:58.
Holy man! Oh my God!
But yeah, I mean, I like long distance running, and it's something that I found to be pretty good at. So I think I'm actually I'm going to put this out there. This is a scoop for you. I think I'm going to see if I can get Dunkin' Donuts to sponsor a Nev marathon like series. I want to run all the major U.S. marathons sponsored by Dunkin' Donuts, because America runs on Dunkin'. So
yes,
I should be running for Dunkin'.
A friend of mine ran Boston and has that T-shirt that Boston runs on Dunkin'.
Oh, really? That's funny.
Yeah.
So
that's
anyone listening works at Dunkin' Donuts and wants to sponsor a marathon,
put it out there.
Campaign, let me know.
Put it out there, peeps. Hey, quick thing on that. That was for a good cause, by the way. I saw you were running for a really good cause.
Oh yeah, Team for Kids is the New York Roadrunners branch that gets city kids sneakers and on track, gives them a great outlet for both physical exercise, but also potential lifelong sport, and potentially scholarships and all kinds of things.
And by the way, as great a job as you did there, and as fast as I think you run, I look at you, and then we see that Shalane Flanagan was running 6 major marathons in 42 days. How does that make you feel? Like, I mean, it's up, Nev. You got to go, man.
No, there's nothing more humbling than marathon running, because there are some people you'd never think, who are certainly older than me, smaller than me. You'd walk by them and you wouldn't look twice. They'll just crush you. They'll crush you. I mean, it's a very humbling experience to have a 55-year-old woman who's 5'2" just sort of blow past you at mile 20. But it's also a great reminder that, and one of the reasons I love long distance running is that you can actually, it's so much more of a mental conditioning than it is anything physical. So it's a great endurance sport, and I look forward to getting better at it.
Well, hopefully we helped hopefully we helped everybody with their mental conditioning today when it comes to avoiding scams. Thanks to you, and thanks to Zelle for putting this together. Once again, we'll link to Nev's TikTok channel and to Zelle on our show notes page at stackingbenjamins.com. Nice talking to you, Nev. Thanks for making time for us. I really
Thanks
appreciate
so much, Joe.